Charles Hosmer Morse knew that if Irving Bachelor, who was a very popular author, very popular publisher, if Irving Bachelor came to Winter Park, his friends would learn about it and would begin to come. And the first thing that happened was Irving Bachelor became a trustee of Rollins and was asked to head the search committee, and he wrote his friend Hamilton Holt and invited him to come as president, which Holt did. And the two of them together said, we're going to make this a special place. One of the faculty members, Cora Harris, wrote a little pamphlet, which I just love, called The Town That Became a University. And the fact is that Winter Park attracted authors, musicians, it had its own symphony, it had its own theater. The librarian in 1935 posted a list of 102 authors who had some connection with Winter Park and a list of 535 publications that they had produced. Now, in 1935, for our little community to have that kind of standard and that kind of commitment to the community being a university says something very special about Winter Park then and, frankly, Winter Park today.
Frank R. Israel and Walter B. Simpson, who was born in the early 1860s, came from a farming area. These people came to help hew out the city. You know, when Chase and Chapman bought those 600 acres, all you had was the pine trees and the beautiful lakes and all, and it had to be set up. And so after it was platted, they needed labor, and these guys were following the work stream. The Hannibal Square Heritage Center is a way that we try to pull together the pieces, the puzzle of life and how it was in that community from its inception through the current.
Winter Park has always had an abundance of cultural activities, restaurants, stores, everything, but through the years, it's become more beautiful. I would say that stands out to me the most. When I think of Park Avenue in my childhood, it was very nice, but today, it's beautiful. The landscaping, everything to the street lights, everything about it has improved in the best possible ways. And that's because of such a dedicated resident pool that are protective, and they deeply love this town, and it shows.
I think we have a really exceptional opportunity in Winter Park to engage with a very high quality of life that goes so much beyond good weather, which obviously we have. I think we have the sort of civic investment that so many people care, not just about how good Winter Park is now, but how good it can be, and how we deliver smart growth that makes sure that we always keep a very high standard of living and have a lot of engagement from our business community, but we do that in a way that respects our heritage so that we don't grow too fast, too big, too many tall buildings, that kind of thing. We always have commitment to maintain that village feel, which is what I think we all connect with. As we move into a rapidly changing world, overall with business, we see people who can work anywhere now. And Winter Park has always been a magnet for people who can decide to live anywhere, but they choose to live here because of our exceptionally high quality of life.
Well, a day in Winter Park when you have a high schooler starts early. Everyone has to be up pretty early to get him off to school. I've been a resident of Winter Park almost 20 years, and I came to Winter Park because when I was in college, I would take the train back and forth from Jacksonville, where I was in college, to see my mother in Tampa. And every time we would take the train, we would stop in this really cute little city. And as it turns out, when my husband was working in Maryland, we decided we wanted to move back near our family in Florida. And he took a job in Orlando and said, you need to stay and find a house. And my father suggested some homes near a golf course here. And when we came to look at it, I realized it was that really cute little city that I had seen from the train. And that was it. I couldn't live anywhere else. Winter Park is a city that is constantly improving. Everywhere you look in the city, there's improvement going on. And to me, it's not just improvement in buildings and sidewalks and all those things, although they're very important to us as a family. But it's almost as though we are all individually always improving, which then continues to make the city improving. We're a city that values education. When you look at the number of schools, preschools, the quality of the schools that are available in Winter Park, we value thinking and learning and improving, and it shows every day.
One thing that really stuck out to me about Winter Park is there's just millions of things to do because it's in a really good location. You can go downtown, you could stay here. One of my favorite things is the farmers market on Saturdays. Best breakfast I've had. And just really felt like a sense of community here with the team, with the people, with just the students in general, the student athletes, it's a very close-knit community here at Rollins, and that's one of the big reasons why I chose to come.
I think anyway that one involves the community is helpful. That the primary thing is the collection and its accessibility. That we try to make it accessible from a physical point of view, and it's a wonderful environment in the museum. We also try to make it available and accessible from a psychological point of view, so people don't have to feel they need to be an expert. Mr. McCain was very specific on that point. This should be for everybody. And then he came up with some wonderful ideas. He came up with Christmas in the Park, bringing Tiffany windows out into Central Park once a year to accompany with music, and have a Christmas celebration, which we now do with the city of Winter Park. He had other ideas at other times. He put windows on a side street downtown Winter Park and invited people to come drive through and see them. So it was any way that he felt and we feel that is a good way to connect people with art, but it is fundamentally based on the collection and this desire not for entertainment so much, although it includes that, but to make people's lives better, to make life a little bit easier. We're in our 75th year. We're celebrating our 75th anniversary, and of course we hope that the next 75 years will be as productive and we can accomplish as much as we have in the past 75.
We are very, very proud of the concept of this building, which really takes wellness in a broader direction of the direction of well-being. Because what we have discovered is that when people think about wellness, they tend to think about fitness and activity and things of that nature. When you talk about well-being, it sort of enlarges that scope, and it takes it still includes the fitness and exercise, but it starts to also think about things like emotional well-being and contentment. And we talk a lot in the world today about mindfulness. So all those things together start to create a person who feels better, who feels like their life is going in a positive direction. We then add to that with education about opportunities for things that they may not have thought about. For example, nutrition. We will have a healthy cafe in this building, which will also do some nutritional education to help people understand that very often healthy eating is still good eating. The building itself is meant to be an extension of nature. So when you're inside the building with all the glass and the natural woods that exist, you really feel a connection to nature. But outside the building is a series of gardens, which are all different, surrounding the entire building, that allow an experience to walk through these gardens, experience their sights and sounds and smells. We wanted to help people become the healthiest person they can be. Every day is a set of decisions, and we will be a better off community if, when those decisions are made, people at least think about, is this a healthy decision? And we then further that by thinking, can we as a community make the healthy decision the easy decision?
well-being. You need to have these charming shops where you can relax, you can sit on the bench, you can watch people go by. And I think that small shops just bring goodness out in people and happiness in people. And I can't imagine, this ever going away, because people feel so good about themselves, I think, when they're enjoying a beautiful day on Park Avenue. And I must say, the charm of the park and, walking up and down the sidewalks and the outdoor dining, you feel this coziness and a sense of, familiarity. And so how could you ever lose that sense of kindness and familiarity and again, as I started out, sense of well-being, which is so needed in all of our souls,
The city exists to serve the residents. It's up to me to make every day exceptional, and all 500 employees carry that out every day. Whether it's our police and fire that are both fully accredited and second to none in the state, or our water department that has a water plant that's ranked #1 in the state almost every year, or our electric department that's working hard to put all the power lines underground. In fact, we're on pace to do that. In about 9 years, we'll have them all underground, like we promised when we bought the system. It's really about community, and you can be proud to, wherever you are in the world, you can say you're from Winter Park, Florida, and people go, oh yeah, that's a great place. And it's true. I mean, we wanted to raise our family here because of the good school system, but also because the community is active, engaged, involved, and that's what I want my family to be.
What's important about the future of Rollins and the future of Winter Park is that we retain that commitment to human scale. We retain the kind of intimacy of our environment that produces what I think is going to be increasingly rare and precious, which are spaces and places that allow for or foster human relationships in the way that our campus does and Winter Park does. I mean, we all know that Orlando is a burgeoning global city that's growing by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, which makes it a very dynamic economy, but it also makes it very congested. And I think what could be lost is the capacity for people to bump into each other and have conversations and enjoy the quality of human life through relationships. That is the future of Rollins College. That, I think, is the future of Winter Park, too.
Your education is one thing that can never be taken away from you. Your health can be taken away from you, your finances, just about everything in your life can be taken away from you, but your education cannot. And your education is the most critical factor in future success.
I've traveled around the world and lived in a bunch of different places, big cities, small cities. And when you come to Winter Park, it feels like home. And I have people from around the world that come here and say the same thing. You hear different languages being spoken on Park Avenue, but you also have people who have been here generations. For me, it's the community itself. It's very difficult to just say this one thing because there's so many beautiful aspects to it. Whether it's Rollins College, whether it's Park Avenue or Hannibal Square, our tree canopy, our brick-lined streets, our beautiful different architecture. You know, it's a very eclectic architecture. Small homes, big homes, lake homes. We have, mid-century modern. I didn't even know what that was before I became mayor. But we have all these different types of architecture throughout the city. So the reason I ran was all of these folks who are a generation older than myself or more, they did that for us. They gave us such a great blessing and such a great community that it allowed us to kind of put our own stamp on our generation in this community. And I'm hoping to do that for the next generation, where we want to stay true to what the brand of Winter Park is, but allow kind of for generational customization, where these next generations can come in and say, the city is still the same as I remember it, but it's also changing as we're changing too, to accommodate the difference in the marketplace. So my goal is to create and work to allow for that flexibility for future generations. I just want people to continue to want to come here, to be our guests, to live and to work. And if I can create that, the blueprint and keep that moving forward, that's why I got into this.
What I love the most about Winter Park has got to be Christmas for me.
Winter Park is the most charming place that my wife Peg and I have ever lived.
There's so much going on that you don't have to wait for special events.
It is an expression of town and gown.
Winter Park's just a great community.
The historic homes.
From the tree-lined streets to the lakes to the parks.
A vibrancy of life here that makes it a very special and unique place.
Distinctive and unique.
Well, definitely the charm.
The atmosphere.
There's a special feeling in Winter Park.
It's the combination of things.
Just a great place to live and raise a family.
It's my hometown.